Alright, so this is step 9, modifying wall type. And what we're going to talk about is how to change what the wall is made up of. Right now it's probably just a generic wall made up of 8 inches of something, but as you can see in this picture, it's going to have lots of different layers on the inside, just like our walls at home have drywall and wood on the inside and different siding on the outside and plywood. We're going to add all of those layers to our wall. So this picture that you're seeing here is in Google Classroom, and I would recommend that you have this picture open on one side of your screen and Revit open in the other side of your screen. Now I would get this set up before you do anything in Revit, because when you start doing things in Revit, once we get our things open that we need to have open in our settings, we're not going to be able to move the Revit folder around anymore. Okay, so we need to make sure that we've got this set up the way we want first. To access this, we should be on our floor plan view, and we should have our properties and project browser open. If we don't, go to view, user interface, and make sure the project browser and the properties both have check marks. I have them laid out side by side. If you have them above or below each other, or in the tab layout, that's fine, but most of our work will be here in the properties. So we need to make sure that we can see the properties tab. Okay, so I'm in my floor plan view and I'm going to click on a wall. And now you'll see the basic wall here doesn't look like this wall over here. So just like we did with doors and windows, modifying them, or if we haven't got there yet, we will talk about that later. We're going to go to edit type because we want to edit what the wall is made up of. Now this box I can move, but you'll notice I can't move Revit anymore. So we're right now looking at the 8-inch generic wall. We want to duplicate this, and because we're working on the shed wall, we're going to give it a super original name, shed wall, and hit OK. Now what we've done is we've made a new wall type that we can modify without messing up the original basic wall. So we're in our shed wall that we just duplicated, and we are going to go to structure and click edit. Now you can see this is starting to look like this. If I click preview, there's our preview box. Okay, and so we can kind of see this and this. First thing that's missing are some layers. Use the insert button to insert layers. Use the delete button to delete layers. We're going to need a few of them, and then we can move them up and down. Notice the 2 core boundary lines. We need to have 2 above the core boundary, 2 in between, and 1 on the bottom. And so I'm just going to click and move my parts around. And I'm going to work column by column, starting with the function. You notice when I click on these, there's the drop-down arrow. So the first one needs to be a finish, and so find the one that is a finish. Leave the next 2 for structure, and the 5th row is thermal air layer. So we'll switch that. Boom. First column is done. Pretty easy. The second column is where things start to get a little bit more complicated. We have to go do some searching. So in our material, you're going to click the dots, which will bring up a window which is going to let us search for the materials. Now, as you can see, if I go to search and start typing in siding, it's probably not going to come up because this box right here, this is going to show or hide the library panel. Notice how this panel pops up when we click that box. So we need to use this box to show our library panel. And sometimes this library panel is very tiny like this. So if you see it down here, find this icon with the arrows and drag it up. And we're looking for the clapboard siding. Double click on that and it adds it to our list up here. That's what we need to do. If it's already up here, then we're good to go, which we might find with some of the layers later. Hit apply and then OK, and you can see it's added it. Now I'm going to kind of fly through these, but if you need to slow it down, you're welcome to do that. Hey, you notice I type in oriented. It's not up here, but it's down here. Double click, hit apply, and OK. And now we have it there. Metal stud. See, we already have the metal stud layer. So all I have to do is click on it and hit OK, and it's added it to the list there. Fiberglass. Okay, we want the fiberglass batting. They've got a different one, but we want the fiberglass batting. Double click, apply, and OK. And the last one, we're typing in gypsum. If anybody knows what gypsum is, it's the actual material that our drywall is made out of. Now you'll notice this looks like a big thing of polka dots, and my picture's got a couple different layers. So what we need to do is change the thicknesses. And a big thing that's really important, you can type in 1/2 and then put the inch notation in there, but look what happens if you type in 1/2. Okay, it's going to get confused because it doesn't know what it is. You have to type in 1/2 inch. And to get the inch, that's where we're holding shift and hitting the button right next to arrow. You can also type in 0.5 inches and it'll automatically convert it to 1/2. What you do not want to do is type in 0.5 and hit enter. When you type in 0.5 and hit enter, it's assuming you're talking about 0.5 of a foot or a decimal foot. If I type in 1.5, it's going to give me 1 foot and 6 inches, the decimal equivalent of 1 foot 6 inches. So if you're looking for a 1/2 inch, you need to type in either 1/2 inch or 0.5 inches. Either one will get you the answer you're looking for. So we can type in 3.5 inches. The one thing you do not want to do is type in 31/2. That will give you, even if you put the word inches in there, 1 foot 3.5 inches. Because 31 divided by 2 is a lot different than 3 and 1/2. Notice the space. If you're going to be doing the fraction 3 and 1/2, you need that space in there before you type in inches. And notice I didn't type in inches, so it put in 3 feet and a 1/2 inch. So 3 space 1/2 inches. Or the correct way to do it again is 3.5 inches. Either way, 3 inches. And finally 0.5 inches or 1/2 inch. Doing that should get you something that looks like this. I had some students that this third layer here, the metal stud layer, for some reason was coming up gray. Not really sure why that was, but if it does come up that way, don't worry about it. The important part is that you hit OK and get around to it. Now, the other thing I want to show you is when you click on this wall, it's a basic shed wall. When you click on a different wall, it's still our kind of boring generic 8-inch wall. So what we need to do is go around to all of our other walls and come down to the bottom here. You see the recently used types? Click on shed wall, and that's going to allow us to make all of our other walls the shed wall. Also, while you're doing this, you could be in the 3D view, but I haven't shown you how to be able to tell what wall is what. To do this, this box here will allow you to change the visual style. Do not use ray trace, that might crash your computer. We want to use realistic. And what this will do is give us some realistic colors. Now you can see which of the things does not look like the other. Oh, this wall right here. So I can try and get it selected and notice it's not the correct wall type. So we need to go down to shed wall. This is also very helpful if I'm in my floor plan. I'll just change 2 of the walls to being inside out. And then you'll be able to see in the 3D view, these 2 walls look like they're supposed to, and those 2 walls don't. So we'll need to go to the floor plan and make sure that our arrows are on the outside. So if something doesn't look right, it might be the arrows. Otherwise, it might be that you're not using the correct shed wall. Again, this image that we used is in Google Classroom, or you can pause this video here and use this for what you need. If you need to go back and watch any parts of the video again, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll talk about the next unit tomorrow.